Good evening and welcome to HT to Hungerford Town FC Live. I'm Sam Michael and I'm your host. I'm hoping this is working and we are streaming live now onto our YouTube channel. As I said, I'll be your host for the evening, but I'm not the only one who's here. We have got a selection of players with you to answer your questions. We've got the manager, Danny Robinson, here as well. And tonight is being brought to you by the Hungerford Town FC media team. So let's meet those guys. We have with us this evening, we have Kieran Morrison and we also have Martin Leach as well. We're going to bring those in, say hello. Yeah, Kieran, how are you doing this evening? You well?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you, Sam. Thanks for having me.
Good man. And we've got Martin in as well. Good evening, Martin.
Hi guys, how are you? Hope everyone's well.
Good. Now, of course, we're recording this at quite a strange time. We were enjoying a really good season for Hungerford Town, and then suddenly it's all kind of changed, and now the season is null and void. I'm sure that will be a hot topic this evening. But how are you guys feeling? Obviously, you guys will know Kieran. He's been the voice of Hungerford Town since we've gone into lockdown, providing commentary and providing social media as well, and also providing social media and a name that none of you really need an introduction to if you've been a Hungerford Town fan for the last however many years, Martin Leach as well. So, boys, let me know. Start with you, Kieran. How did you find it when you heard the news that the season had been null and void?
Well, devastated, really. As much as players want to play games, I also want to be watching the match and commentating and match reporting. Match reporting is a little bit of extra income for me as well. Getting yourself in the NLP. So, yeah, devastated, really. And, of course, the boys having a great season on the pitch.
Yeah, absolutely. Yourself, Martin?
Yeah, it wasn't just the football. It's for your mental health as well. I think football once a week or twice a week was just good. It was just a distraction from the monotonous ongoing of the pandemic and every day being the same. So football was a great release, and even in the last 2 or 3 weeks, I've really missed it. So yeah, it's really shame the season finished so early.
No, I agree with you guys. And of course, normally we were planning this sort of evening of kind of meeting the players, chatting to the players, and the fans, being able to get their questions in. Well, I mean, we've been planning this in person, obviously, but we've had to adapt tonight, so I'm sure we're going to be a little bit rusty. We apologise if there are any technical faults, but it's not like Hungerford's famous for having streaming connection issues this season at all.
Perfect streaming usually.
So we've got a great night planned for you guys. We have got some amazing. We've got amazing lineup. We've got Ryan Seager. We're going to be speaking to Keith Emmerson, Matt Partridge, and of course Danny Robinson, as I mentioned. And we're going to start with our top goal scorer of the season. It is Ryan Seager, and we're going to bring that lad in now. If we can get him unmuted, that is, of course. We've had to keep them all quiet. You want to hear the noise they were making before we came live. So, Ryan, good evening. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you.
Yeah, all good, thank you. Well, I'll leave it with you guys to chat away, and we've got some questions for you.
Yeah, good evening, Ryan. Hope you're well.
Thanks, mate. You?
Yeah, good, thank you. So you scored 14 goals in 19 league games this season. You must be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I had no expectations at the start of the season, but how it's gone for me on a personal level, obviously, has been great.
And if the season continued, you must have been pretty confident to have broke the 20-goal barrier.
Yeah, I think that was always the plan. Just taking it game by game, really. That's what I tried to do the whole season. So yeah, devastated when the season got null and void.
Yeah, obviously the last goal you scored was that free kick for Eastbourne. Did you quite appreciate how good that strike was when it went in back in the net?
Not really then, probably about 50 times that I watched it since. But no, it was a good free kick, to be fair. Best one I've scored, to be honest.
Yeah, was that your favourite goal of the season? Was it?
I think so, yeah. In terms of how it looked, I'd definitely say that one.
Yeah. Did you quite think how big it would go on social media? Some people calling you James Ward-Prowse or Bruno Fernandes.
No, not at all. Obviously, it's good to get that kind of like recognition and stuff, but I just thought of it. Obviously, when I scored it, it was just another goal sort of thing. So, and obviously, we lost that game in the end anyway.
Yeah, unfortunately so. And on social media, I haven't bothered to count, to be honest, but I presume you're the largest follower. Most people follow you on Twitter compared to Twitter. Hungerford Town players we've got. And I was just looking at your followers. You have got a few big names. Did you know that Peter Shilton follows you?
I did, yeah. He followed me while I was at Southampton.
So how do you know Peter then?
He just followed me on Twitter. Don't know him personally. Can't say I know him personally.
Oh, that's quick and simple then.
Yeah.
And you obviously started your career off Southampton, as I just mentioned, or you just mentioned. So I presume you know some Premier League players as well.
No, a few. Not many big ones, but yeah. Obviously, when I was breaking through, I was quite young, so not that I was like in with the older lads at the time, but obviously know a few from playing with them. Yeah.
How was it training at Southampton? I presume the facilities were pretty good down there.
Yeah, that's it. I loved it there. It was always known for having nice facilities, nice ground. The people, everyone who worked there, and obviously all the players and that were really good. It was just a nice environment to be in, really.
Yeah, and you got your debut under Ronald Koeman. I think you told me before. Is that correct?
Yeah, that was it. 2014, something like that now.
And so, what's the comparison between Koeman as a manager and Danny Robinson?
There's no comparison there.
Yeah, we know Danny's a better manager, obviously. I'm sure Leach will agree with that as well. Koeman was at Everton.
Yeah. I've not. Mr. Keeman's not very popular in my household, being ex-Everton manager. But I'm sure he's probably got you on his shortlist for Barcelona now. So yeah.
I wish.
Think about it. Who was your growing up? Who was your sort of heroes? Were you a Southampton fan? Did you look at like Letitia and those sort of people?
No, I've always been a Liverpool fan, to be honest. So growing up, it was always like Michael Owen. And then Fernando Torres, that's my favourite striker when he was in his prime at Liverpool. No one better.
Is there anyone you sort of model your game on? Is it Fernando Torres, or do you think you're more of a?
Not really. I never really looked at anyone and thought, I want to be like them. You always try and have like your own style, but your own style just comes with how you play and like how you are as an athlete, sort of things. Like obviously when I was a bit younger, I was a bit quicker than I am now, I'd like to say. But it changes throughout your career, sort of thing. But I never really looked at anyone and thought, I can take that from their game and stuff like that. It's just how you practice on the pitch and practice makes perfect, really.
Yeah, definitely. The goal that crops up a lot of the time is the goal you scored against Concord from about 45 yards. Is that a goal you is that something you try often, seeing goalkeepers off the line and just having a pop? And
I'd say more recently. So yeah, I remember that game yesterday. I was noticing the keeper was off his line a lot in that game at the start, and I remember saying to Cal, like, if you have a chance, like, just have a pop. And then literally 2 minutes later, that's what I did, and luckily for me, it went in.
And I think Kieran might mention it, but I think his commentary on that goal was absolutely first class. I don't know if you've heard it when he's sort of saying, "Oh, it's Ryan Seager," and he kind of went mad. I think that was sort of added to the goal somewhat. I think it was really.
I was
good.
in with the substitutes that day. Everyone was shouting quite loud.
Yeah, it was
commentary as always.
It was a bit of a weird day for the media team because we were in the opposite stand, so we weren't used to it, and unfortunately it didn't have a good angle on the goal because it was low down, but it was good commentary.
Definitely went over the line before it hit the keeper.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. No question about it.
Yeah.
So Ryan, obviously going back to Southampton, has it been mentally difficult to go from a Premier League club to a National League South club? What's the differences?
Definitely when you drop down the leagues, obviously it's always hard, but for me it was about, I haven't played much like the clubs that I've been at, so for me it was about finding a club where I'd get a bit of game time as well. Obviously it's like the perfect combination with Hungerford at the minute. But yeah, there's obviously the standards. Obviously when I was at Southampton, obviously a bit different, but obviously you're training every day, so that's the main part of it. So that's why I think at this level you've got to try and keep yourself fit throughout the whole week still. That's what I try and do anyway, just to keep on top of my fitness when we're not training.
Yeah, who is the fittest in the squad? I think we had a question from one of our supporters, Peter, about this. Who do you think is the fittest? He thinks it's Emo, but is that true?
Emo is fit. I'll give him that. Obviously we wear the GPS and that, and I think in games a lot of the time Jonah was up there. To be fair,
Yeah.
I like to say I was up there quite a bit as well, but
I think we've got a lot of fit.
No one's unfit. That's the main
No,
thing.
I think we've got a lot of fit lads. There's no one you're sort of carrying in the team, is there? They're all.
Yeah, that's it. And where we play quite an intense pressing game as well, so everyone needs to be at that level of fitness before we play anyway.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So that's why you're on the orange juice tonight, not the beer.
That's it. Exactly that.
So, are you planning to stay at Hungerford next season, Ryan?
Of course, got a contract for next season, so
Yeah. Are you not going to sign a new extension like Danny?
if I get offered one, you never know. You never know.
Come on, if Pat's watching this, that's what he's got to do then.
He's on Keeman's shortlist for Barca, so we better watch out. I think.
You can tell him that.
So, so what actually made you want to join them, Ryan, right at the start of the season?
I think obviously back then I think it was July or start of August or something like that where Hungerford were training, and it was literally I was there 1 or 2 sessions and obviously spoke to Gaffer and it just felt right, just felt like the right club for me, where I could felt like I could develop my game a bit more. And it just seemed like the right time, everything like that. So there was a lot of aspects really, and all the lads obviously welcomed me really good. So it worked out. Did you
have any doubts? Because we were like tipped to finish bottom for everyone's predictions, and everyone was writing us off. Did it satisfy you proving people wrong?
Yeah, it did. I think that was one of the main things as well. I feel like I've been doubted a lot in my career. So for me, it was that hunger as well to prove myself as well at this level. So obviously where Hungerford wanted to prove themselves as well, finishing bottom last season but avoiding it because of COVID. And I think that's what everyone expected this season, us just to be the same as what it was last season. But obviously the players we got in, the players that were already there, it just felt like the right combination of everything. And as you can see from the league table, we did have a good season.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's been one of our best seasons, certainly in the last sort of 3 or 4 years, definitely since our promotion probably is. So yeah, definitely.
Excellent. Well, Ryan, thank you so much for joining us. Hope you stick around because we've got some familiar faces on the way as well. Or you might want to do a runner, but he signed a contract now, so you'd hope you want to keep them happy.
Yeah, I can't wait to see these guys.
Any quick final questions, guys, for Ryan before we get our next guest on?
No, I'd just like from the supporters just thank Ryan for all his efforts this season. He's certainly been a very popular player, and they're all just disappointed they couldn't be there to sort of get a song going for you. I'm sure they had one in mind to sing for you, but yeah, hopefully next year you'll have your own song.
That's it. I appreciate that.
Definitely. Excellent. Big thanks to the fans who are tuning in tonight. We've got 30 of you watching live at the moment. Really appreciate it. One of you have tuned in expecting a game. I don't know what to say to you, Jack White. Got some bad news about the season, mate. You probably want to catch up on things. Good evening to Luke O'Neill. I hope you got the sound issue sorted. We should be coming through loud and clear from what I've found. And I don't know how to pronounce that name, but hello, welcome, and thanks for your message. If you do have any messages for the players, do drop them in the comments section. And what we can do is, at the end, if you've got a bit of time, I'm sure we have, I'm sure they're not going out anywhere, the way things are at the moment, we can run them past the players and the manager. But right now, we're going to bring in our next guest, who is one of my favourite players for the squad. In fact, I like him so much, I've decided to tribute him with my own haircut this evening. He is, of course, Keith Emmerson. Good evening, Keith. How are you?
Yeah, I'm well. Thanks for having me. Hope you're well.
Yeah, all good. Thank you, mate. And we've got some questions for you.
Looking forward to this.
Yes, mate. Hello, Emma. As you see, have you got any tips for lockdown hair? Because mine is an absolute nightmare. So what would you recommend shaving it off?
To be fair, I cut mine every 2 days, so it's probably worse than what you guys have to do. You can leave yours for a month. I've got to cut this every 2 days, or else it grows back in patches, like a really bad garden.
Well, perhaps I should do an MO style and just get rid of this. It might be the way forward. But this has been your first season at this level. How have you found it? Have you found it a challenge, or have you think you've adapted well? You certainly seem to have settled in really well looking at it. So how have you found the league?
don't think I found it challenging. I think the big thing for me was just making sure that I give 100% every game. Now, I've moved around every 2-3 years for the simple reason it's just because of the kind of job I do. So to kind of cement myself playing at National League was never going to happen with the job I've got. Like I say, I've moved from places in Wales, other side of Essex. I've lived in London, and my actually home where I live now is in Somerset. So moving every 2-3 years meant that I couldn't really cement playing at the same club for a long period of time. So I found the level of challenge for the fact of that all the teams you come against are good teams. You get a lot of good players. Obviously, financially, a lot of clubs are well off, and you've got players who shouldn't really be playing at this level because they're rewarded for travelling involved. So I think for me, it was just getting a season under my belt and with a good squad that I've got. I don't think it was going to cause me any issues, really.
No, I think you've certainly proved that you're more than capable at this level. And I think you're one of, as Sam said, you're probably one of, certainly a fan's favourite. He's certainly, done really well in my view. So obviously your centre-back partner for most of it has been James Rusby. What's it like playing with Ruz? He's been with the club since about 2014. Has he helped you settle in?
Yeah, I think he's helped me settle in. I think all the lads have settled in. Like I say, we've managed to have a pretty good partnership between me, Ruz, and Parts. And like I say, for considering that we started the season as a complete brand new partnership, 7 clean sheets so far has kind of proved that we've settled in together. And I think, to be honest, we all probably bring out our own best parts in each other. That's kept us the way we have. So yeah, it's been quite easy for me to slot in when I have got 2 lads either side of me who have got the quality like James has and obviously Matt has. Yeah,
they're quite calm characters, I think, aren't they? And
I wouldn't say Matt is.
They certainly seem that way anyway. I don't know, playing with them they would be different, but yeah, they certainly seem calm.
Yeah, on the ball, the pair of them are very good footballers. Like I say, they don't feel flustered when they've got the ball.
No.
And both of them, especially Matt. Matt plays with a cigar in his mouth pretty much every game. Until he gets a little bit riled by one of the strikers, then obviously he's had one sending off under his belt. But obviously you've seen the footage.
Yes, I think we'll come to that when we speak to him. Yeah. Have you felt the sort of how popular you are with the supporters from sort of things like social media? They think they've sent you a lot of messages and stuff. You sort of found that you've sort of found that they are right behind you.
Yeah, I think I felt that from everyone in the club, from not just the fans, the people who are there on match days as well. It's a very family oriented club, and I think I've been quite fortunate over the past few years, in particular when I was at Taunton as well. Clubs with the volunteers and the kind of background supporters you have are very humble, and they take the players really well. And I say I'm quite grateful that I have been supported the way I have, and all I can do is say thank you to those who have watched us. It would have been nice to meet more people in person. Obviously, under certain circumstances that we can't, but as we come out of it, obviously we move on to another season. It'll be actually nice to meet these people and put faces to face.
Yeah, definitely. Another thing we've enjoyed is some of your charging runs up the pitch. I think every game you get a charging run from Emmo up the pitch. Unfortunately, you haven't managed to score yet. But have you got a goal celebration in mind when you do?
If you look at any of the clips of me scoring goals, I don't celebrate. I think the older I've got, the further I've went back positional wise. So obviously, the less likelihood of me scoring goals. So I leave that to see, because that's where he gets paid the big money for.
We do enjoy an MO charge up the pitch, I have to say. So yeah, keep it going. What about playing with? Am I right to think you play for the Forces teams as well?
Yes, I do. So from the Army team, I'm a player coach. So obviously, especially with the likes of Luke, obviously I've known Luke pretty much when he joined the Army. So I've been in the military for 17 years, and I've seen Luke grow from a 20-year-old kid playing in our under-23 setup to then breaking into our obviously senior squad. So, and like I say, I've managed to obviously represent the Army over 100 times. I played UK Armed Forces football, which is obviously a mixture of the British Army, the Royal Air Force, and the Royal Navy, and obviously represented them in various competitions over the years as well. So I've kind of, as much as I don't like to say it, I'm probably a stalwart of military football, as bad as it sounds. It makes me sound even older than what I am.
What's the sort of standard like of that playing in that side?
Which one? The Army
force,
side?
the Army side, yeah.
So the Army side, we, like anything else, people join the military and people exit the military. I've played with some great players, some lads who've exited the Army really early, some lads who've played professional football before they joined. Obviously, recently the one that's kind of come to the head is obviously the lad who's at Swindon Town at the minute, Tom Broadbent. So I played with Tom, and the same again with Tom. Tom didn't really play much for the Army in his younger years, and then he just rocketed. And like I say, he took a chance in non-league, played really well in his non-league level, went to Bristol Rovers, and then he got a deal at Swindon, and he's gone from, like I say, he's gone higher up as he's gone. He's a very good footballer, and hopefully he stays in the professional game for as long as he can.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously Luke, still playing with Luke as well, is it must be good that you're both playing in the same side for Hungerford as well now.
Yeah, I think I say it's probably nice for Luke. He's a familiar face, and like I say, I've known him for a long time, so I kind of know how to kind of calm him down at times. Because anything you see on a live stream, he's quite an emotional character. You see what you get with Luke. If he's upset, you'll see it. If he's happy, you'll see it. And he is a genuine all-round bloke. Maybe he says too much at times, but hey, he'll learn as he gets older.
How long do you think you can keep going? I know you sort of, I hate to call you a veteran, but how long do you think you're going to keep going?
As long as the gaffer wants me. To be honest, I think a lot of it for me is I still feel fit. Like I say, for age for me is not. I don't really notice how old I am. I was fortunate to play with Jamie Curtin for a few years, and like I say, Jamie's still ongoing now. So I look at someone like that who can still play at a high level with no issues. I think the main thing is, like for any footballer, if you can stay injury-free, obviously I know Seeks has had his issues, but the more you can stay injury-free, the better. So I think that's the main thing for me. Yeah,
and I think age in sport in general is becoming less and less a thing. If you look at the likes of already Tom Brady and Roger Federer, they always sort of defy their years, don't they? So it's certainly less and less of a thing than it was.
No, definitely. I think for me, I'm fortunate in my job now. The longer I've been in the military now, I'm not as kind of hammered with regards to physical training. I now manage physical training now, so for me, I've got time to recover. Like I say, I've got access to physiotherapy and all the kind of recovery systems that I can get my hands on. So I'm in a fortunate position that should prolong my career a little bit longer than what most people do. So I am in a fortunate position for that.
Yeah, cool. Well, it's been great to watch you join the team this year, Emo. And as I say, you're definitely a fan's favourite, and I think they're all right behind you. And they, again, really desperate to see you play live. I think most of them. So meet you, obviously. So yeah. Thanks for all your efforts this year.
Thanks for the kind words, mate. It's, like I say, it's greatly appreciated. Hopefully, when they do come back, I might score one.
Yeah,
definitely. Save the goal for when the fans are there. That'd be great.
and a rare celebration, hopefully, as well. Who knows?
So 1 minute. So Emma, are you going to try and bring some of your army training into pre-season?
I've been asked to help out a little bit, so I think for me is as much as I've got a way of doing things, like anything, we modernise, and like I say, I do a lot of work within strength and conditioning with tactical athletes, so obviously military personnel. So I will try and take some of that context and bring it across to what we do. But ultimately, it's two different populations. Like I say, footballers are footballers. The crossover isn't really there. Like I say, the way I talk about it is I've got trained guys for the uncontrollable. So it could be chaos that they're walking into. Football has its own chaos, but like I say, I'll do a little bit. I think from the gaffer's perspective, he wants me to do a little bit of pre-season testing and obviously I can do a bit of monitoring and evaluation and help the players as they see fit. But a lot of the players we play with are very professional. I say you've got lads like say take Matty, take Hops, both personal trainers, both educated lads. Siegs has obviously gone through numerous of pre-seasons at pro clubs. We've got Jake Evans in exactly the same boat. So we're fortunate that we've got a squad that can look after themselves. So my kind of little steer is probably minor in the big scheme of things, because Danny's assembled a good squad, and like I say, we all know what we need to do. And if I can help get 5% extra out of the blokes, then that's only going to be a good thing for us moving forward.
Sorry, Emma, I forgot I had a question for you from one of our supporters, Chris Allen. I don't know if you know Chris, he did the podcast Antiques and Grannies. There's been a lot of talk recently in football about protective headgear, and that's someone who's good in the air and headers a lot of balls. What are your views on that coming into the game?
I think it's going to be interesting in what they're going to do. So I say that I've seen a lot of stuff in the FA and a lot of questions going around about obviously not heading at younger ages and things like that. And I think it needs more research, and that's the big thing about it. There's a lot of people, especially looking at dementia and everything else, that has grown with the older generation of players. But maybe that was because of the type of ball they were using. And see, the balls have been developed over the years and become lighter and lighter, so the impact's getting less and less. But I think there is something that needs probably a lot more research, and until that research is available and the evidence is available, I think it's hard to comment on whether it would be a good thing or a bad thing for the sport.
Yeah, the balls are as light as a feather. Look, because C's can score from about 50 yards. Say like they are.
That's great. Thanks for joining us, Keith. And thank you as well, the fans who are with us this evening. There's a good few of you on. A few messages I just want to read out. One from Daniel, who says, looking forward to being able to come to some games when time allows. Luke says hello. And Jake Lawrence says, evening, lads. Thank you for the season in difficult times. Really kept me going. And Graham Dalton says good evening as well. So it's great that you could all join us here. And we're going to have straight in with another player. We're going to bring in Matt Partridge now. And Martin, Kieran, you've got questions for Matt.
You going to go, Kieran?
Yeah. Good evening, Matt. Yeah. What's been your highlight of the season?
Good evening, fellas.
Evening.
My highlight of the season? What? I think just the lads doing as well as we have done. Really, I think it's all been a big highlight for us. I think we sort of knew where we was at as a group. I think we kind of maybe have overachieved in the sense of where people saw us ending the season, obviously ending a bit too prematurely. But I think we all kind of knew what we was capable of, and I think we kind of got to where we got to through our hard work, and I think that's kind of been a compliment to everyone really, and that's kind of been the highlight. I think it's all been a highlight for us so far.
Excellent, yeah. And how easy a decision was it when Danny gave you the call to come to Hungerford?
For myself it was easy. I was obviously working with Danny last year at his previous club, and knew the kind of manager he was, the kind of bloke he was. So for myself to come and join Hungerford this year, it was an easy decision for me. Yeah.
And you've probably spent the most of your career in a back four. So how did you find adjusting to a back three?
It's nice actually. You get a bit more extra protection, so you can you've got a bit more cover. So it's like I say, it's a bit nice. You've got more voices beside you talking to you. So it's been good. And like Emma said, it's been a good back three. With the wing backs and Luke behind us, so it's been good.
Yeah, and you always seem so relaxed on the pitch. Even you're still trying, obviously, 110%, but you always seem like you make it look so easy.
Well, people say that to me, but like I said, I don't always maybe I come across differently to how it's going on in my head essentially, but I seem to come across like I'm being really relaxed and in control. So that's the main thing. Yeah.
And I presume it's reassuring having Luke Kearney behind you, such a good goalkeeper.
Yeah, definitely. Luke's always talking. Like Emmo said, sometimes maybe a bit too much. He gets a bit excited back there. Loves a boot upfield and then a scream after it. So you certainly get up the pitch after it. Yeah, so it's good having someone like Luke behind you. Yeah.
And how do you feel being the only one to be sent off last season?
Is that the case? Is it only one? Only one with a red card? Oh,
Well, off the top of my head, I think.
Yeah.
No, in my defence, I think I would have got away with it, but the referee just turned around at the wrong time, so I have to hold my hands up. But I mean, the lads got a 1-0 win, I think, against Dorking that day. So if anything, it played into our hands. That maybe I got the red card and we went down to 10, sat back. Was it 2-0 actually? Is it 2-0 or 1-0?
2-0.
2-0.
Oh yeah, so it's a 2-0 with 10 men. You can't go wrong, can you? So luckily I got away with that one. I didn't get much of an air fault from the gaffer. If we lost it, it might have been a different story.
Yeah, it didn't really change much really when you got sent off. To be frank, honest with you, because we still had a 4 at the back, and obviously the threat up top and the
Have a mirror. No, exactly that. The lads still well. So yeah, I can't like I say, I was lucky in that sense. They still managed to get the job done. So that was good.
Matt, this is your second spell at Hungerford. Do you feel as though you had something to prove? Because I think your first spell was sort of injury hit.
Yeah, definitely. The first time I come here was obviously under Bobby, and I ended up getting a hip injury, so I ended up having surgery and being out pretty much the majority of the season. So yeah, it's been good to come back and sort of be able to show what I'm capable of, and sort of, I guess, give Hungerford something back in the sense of they sort of stood by me through that time. So to be able to come back and play for Hungerford's been good. Yeah.
Yeah. Am I right in thinking, did you get injured at Poole when we had a game on a bank holiday at Poole? I seem to recall you got injured in that game.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I actually probably got further up the field than I normally do, and I think I pulled my hamstring actually, and then from there led to being a hip problem. So it was Poole away. I mean, that's a big enough pitch to be trying to do full length runs on, isn't it? So
yeah, terrible pitch.
That again.
Terrible pitch. Yeah. We won't go into that. So. And Kieran said about the back three. Have you heard the fans' song about you?
I have not. So if you want to sing it to me, then feel free to.
I'm not going to sing it, but it goes on the first day of Christmas. My true love gave to me a partridge in the back three.
Lovely stuff.
So you should feel honoured. You've got a song. I think not even Seager's got a song yet. So yeah, definitely.
Oh no, yeah, I'm doing something right. I've got something that Seager's hasn't.
Who do you look up to as a defender? Who's your sort of favourite defender? Who do you sort of try and base your style on or admire?
I mean, I'm a Liverpool fan, so obviously at the moment, before he got injured, obviously, like Virgil van Dijk was the man, wasn't he? So I think for anyone to try and sort of like emulate what he's doing is sort of a good goal for anyone. But really, kind of like Zeke said it earlier on, I guess you kind of got to put your own sort of style on it. I mean, as you've sort of alluded to, I come across quite relaxed, so I don't know really. I don't really look up to anyone in the sense of like who I try to play with. I think you just got to try and be yourself, and then try and fit into the team you're playing into really, and then sort of work from there. So yeah.
Yeah, you do come off quite calm as opposed to someone like Emmo. Have you received a ticking off from Emmo, a shouting down?
I think probably Emmo's given everyone a bit of a ticking off, and so Emmo's also been on the receiving end when he decides to try and flick headers that way, and they come back towards his own goal. But there we go.
or he goes on one of his charging runs up the pitch and leaves you all up.
Yeah, exactly that. No, it's like I say, it's good to play alongside Emmo. He's an experienced lad, so it's good what he brings to the team. As well as everyone in the squad. To be fair, we've got a really good squad, so it's good like that.
Talking of squad, who's the one of the most regular questions from the fans is who's the team clown? I think we all probably know, but who do you think it is?
Yeah, I think like you say, sober or after a can, it's probably Callum Minute. So he can take the lead on that. He's vocal, but it's actually interesting because although he's the joker of the group, he's actually the one who in the huddle gives the chat and kind of gets everyone going. So he kind of plays both roles really well. So he's got that side. He's great to have in the team because, like I say, he's got that side where he's a good laugh, but at the same time he gets everyone going in the warm up and in the huddle. So he's good.
Yeah, I think it's every team needs characters like like Callum, don't they? Or Miami, as he's known.
Exactly that, man. Yes, that's the one.
Brilliant. Well, thanks for joining us, Matt. Really appreciate it. Matt, just quick question. Do you have a cousin called Nathan?
I've got a big family, but I don't know.
Oh, because we've had a message from someone called Nathan who says hi from Ireland. Says he's your cousin.
Oh yes, I do. Yes, so yeah, I thought he was going to be like Nathan Partridge. Yes, I do. Yeah, so that's my family over in Cork. Yeah, so yeah, you can give him a shout out. Good evening, mate.
Great. Yeah, thanks for joining us this evening. And Pete Cunningham as well. Thanks for joining us this evening. As I said, if you guys want to leave a question for these lads, we're going to chat to them all at the end. It's going to be sort of an open house for questions, and we're going to chat to all of these guys. And yeah, like this is your opportunity to ask any questions that you've wanted to ask all season. Obviously, normally we would be doing this down the club, but under circumstances, this is the best we've got at the moment. I hope you've enjoyed it, though. It's great to see so many of you joining us on this Saturday night. And if you enjoy it, maybe we'll do it again. So far, fingers crossed, the stream has gone okay. And it's not often we can say that, but it seems to have gone all right. So we've spoken to some players. Now it's time to speak to the man himself. We're going to bring in the gaffer. So it's my pleasure to say good evening, Danny Robinson. How are you, mate?
Yeah, good evening, guys. How are you? You all right?
Yeah, all good. Danny, of course, it's so many times someone had said to you in the last year, strange times, unprecedented times, and all that sort of malarkey. So, as I've just mentioned, we'd be normally doing this face to face with all the fans. We'd be down a pub, we'd be down in the club, we'd all have a beer in hand. Good to see some of you boys tonight have got a beer in hand as well. I'm liking it. I'm trying to be sensible as host on the H2O. Very disappointing. But Danny, how's it been? I want to ask the first question, just say, of course, it's been such a strange season for so many reasons. One of them being, of course, that it's ended null and void. The other being that, bar one game, it's all been played behind closed doors. How can you sum up the season?
It's definitely a season where I think fans are the most important thing in football. I think that obviously to play in an empty ground is hard. You know, as much as you'd like to think when you go away from home, they make a big difference, the supporters and things like that. But it's been a bit surreal for me, really, because I haven't really met the majority of Hungerford Town supporters. When it's my first year at National League, and I haven't gone to I've gone to grounds where I've been told there are 2,000 in there, and it's an empty stadium and things like that. I think that is one of the biggest challenges, because, like I said, football is nothing without supporters. And at Hungerford, through social media outlets and bits and pieces like that, they've been absolutely, I feel underwhelmed, really and truthfully, with all the support that I've received. So I can't, next season, I can't wait for them to be in. Hopefully we'll have some pre-season friendlies, early doors at home that, they will be there, and we can have a drink afterwards and everything like that. But as a whole, if someone turned around and said to me that if it was going to be null and voided, but you'd be in, finishing the playoffs, that's, surreal to me. And it's just a big compliment I can pay every person, or every player as well at the football club. It's an unbelievable achievement.
Absolutely. And Kieran, Martin, I know you've got so many questions you want to ask the gaffer this evening.
Yeah, of course we have. So we've had a lot of highs and lows this season, Danny. What's been the toughest challenge for you so far?
You know what? I wouldn't say there's been a tough challenge, really and truthfully, because, first and foremost, for Patrick to give me the job of being a National League manager at a wonderful club like Hungerford, everything's been unbelievable to me. Like I said, I've still, I'm still probably in my honeymoon period, really and truthfully. I wouldn't say that we lost 3 on the bounce. Getting beat. I think the biggest one to swallow was, obviously, he was doing really well. Then, obviously, the only time that fans were allowed in, we got beat by Dulwich 3-0 at home. It wasn't necessarily myself that felt down, but I felt, to all the supporters that were allowed in for that one game, we let them down, and everything we do as a football club is for the supporters, and it's for people that work so hard behind the scenes and everything like that. But, if you've asked me if anything's been tough, no, not at all. Because like I said, I'm absolutely privileged, proud to be Hungerford Town manager, and like I said, everybody that works behind the scenes made me feel so welcome. So no, that hasn't been a low point as it stands at the minute.
I was gonna say that maybe the lowest point was maybe getting beat by Truro. How did you pick up the players after that loss, first game of the season before a season opener against our rival Chipping?
Yeah, you could look at that, and to exit the FA Cup when FA Cup owns the club money and things like that, you're probably right. But I'm a great believer because we lost at Truro. It gave us probably a little bit more hunger and desire to go on, and we had Chippenham on the Tuesday night, and we beat them 3-0 and comfortable in the end. I think what we did at Truro, put us in good stead for the season, because we know we're a side that have to work hard. We know that we're a side that we have to be full tilt, and if we're not at we're not at full tilt, we do get beaten. So it was a good lesson to learn, if that's such a strange thing, exiting against Truro and getting beat 4-0. Me personally, obviously, I had to sit in the stands for that one, and it wasn't a 4-0 game, but we learned so many lessons within 90 minutes that I believe that stood us in good stead for the season.
Mm-hmm. And why do you think our away record has been better than our home record this season?
Oh God, I think when you're going into the Lions Den and going away to grounds, the only way to survive is to fight, and you get that extra 10-20%. I want to turn Pulpit Lane into a fortress, and sometimes on the flip side of that, when teams come to us, they think if we're at it, we might get 3 points, so it might be a little bit tougher along those lines. But our away form's been fabulous. It has been fabulous. And I think that one of the most recent things that we achieved to go and get 1-1 at Dartford. What a wonderful setup that is. Great great stadium, fantastic players that we played against, and fantastic manager I managed against, things like that. It's hard to put an actual finger on it, but I do believe we have a crop of players and a squad of players that believe that when you are backed up against the wall, that they will come out fighting. So, and that's the way that I manage, and that's the way that this football team will be, whilst I'm in charge.
On a lighter note, I was reading an article about Craig Fastmade the other week, and he said that you putting the music on in the dressing room is usually
what is it? Sorry, can you cut out there? But what is in my music choice? It's horrendous, really. I think the players will probably say that, but we always have a thing. If we lose a game of football, I think that I always say that I'll put my music on rather than the players' music. So hopefully that gives them a little extra incentive.
Who is a DJ, Dan, usually?
Hards is brilliant. I must admit, I've been in lots of change rooms since I've been a manager, but I think Hards he's got an array of playlists and array of music. I think the lads would probably agree with me on that. He caters for all, and I can't stand the headbanging stuff or the lyrics that you can't sing along to. I must admit, I'm probably getting too old for that now, but Hards, he even caters for me, Hards, so I have to give him big credit for that.
Has there been a player who's actually surprised you this season that you've signed and you probably thought, I don't know, but he's actually done really well?
Oh, geez. Taking my manager's hat off, and truth be told, and being a local boy, because like I say, I'm a local, Hungerford Thatcham lad. I think there was a lot of people when I brought Curtis Angel along from Thatcham. Probably a lot of people thought that, he's come here on the back of obviously knowing me and knowing me very well outside of football and things like that. And he's probably a player that, when you look back on it, he's probably been one of our most consistent performers. There's a lot of doubters, within my circle, being honest, between, mine and Curtis' circle and things like that probably doubt Curtis. But, he's adapted to it very well. I think one of the big things for him was a big driver. That is obviously Dad's a bit of a ledge down at Pulpit Lane as well. So, he's played brilliantly well, you know, and he's one of them ones where I very rarely look at the side and think he's not a 7 out of 10. And I think any manager within any walk of life in football will tell you need 7 out of 10s on a regular basis. And I certainly think he's done that. I think that I'd like to think that I'll probably, obviously, James Busby, the club captain. I thought to myself, watching James from afar, I thought he's a fabulous player, but I didn't really know how good he is until you get up and close and work with him. And I've always said that to him. I think, like I said, he is a lad that needs to be loved and to be looked after right and things like that. And he's been outstanding all season long, like every single player we have. Me and you could sit here and talk about individuals, but as a collective, I think every player has all played their part. It's just an absolute shame that it's come to an end like it did, because, like I said, we could have had one of the best seasons that Hungerford's ever had.
Definitely, I think it was really gutting as well. All those great performances we had, and no fans there to see it, especially the away days. We can't wait for you lads to experience an away day with the supporters there. I think that should be good fun stuff. Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, massively. Like, the reason why we do football is for supporters. At the end of the day, that the reason, you play your hard-earned money at the end of the week to come and support Hungerford Town. Like I said, if to pay a bus journey, a train journey, a car journey, whatever it is, to come and support us all around, southern England, it never go lost on me that how important supporters play within Hungerford Town. And I'm gutted that they didn't get to see what we had to offer. Obviously, they can watch it via stream. Obviously, we know some difficulties with every stream and things like that. But, hopefully, fingers crossed, they kind of had an insight to what hopefully Hungerford would be in the future. And all I want to build and all I want to do is make a side at Hungerford that the supporters can be proud of. And, like I said, that's the biggest driver for me.
Yeah, definitely. I think you've done such a good job. Did you feel any pressure? Because obviously replacing Ian was sort of so popular with the supporters. Did you feel that pressure when you first took over?
Yeah, like I said, what Ian done to keep obviously up on, was it like I say 2 last days of the season and things like that. I think the Torquay result will go down in living memory of Hungerford Town. So, he what he did with Hungerford Town was massive, absolutely huge, because at the end of the day, the club has always maintained the fact that they want to play as high a standard as they physically can. They don't want to go down. They don't want to, and I took a lot of heart from that fact that this football club wants to punch well above its weight, like me. Hungerford Town is like me in a way, because we're a small club. I'm a small manager that wants to do as best as what they can, wants to punch well above his weight, wants to beat big sides, wants to have their moment in the sun, like I always say to the players. And, so I've kind of bitten everything into what Hungerford Town is. Like I said, I'm a local lad. I live in Fratcham, but, I've always looked and admired Hungerford from afar, because obviously what Bobby achieved, what Ian achieved. And I always thought to myself, all jokes aside, I'd like a bit of that. I want to, do what they've done and, manage at this level and things like that. So, yeah, no, it's a fantastic football club. And like I said, the big thing for me is I can't wait to meet all the supporters properly and have people in regularly at Bullpit Lane.
Yeah, definitely get in that bar after a victory, and you'll certainly meet them.
Yeah, well, you've known me already, innit? So, I like a beer after a game. I like to sit down, whether people have a moan at me, whether people want to talk to me, whether people, like I said, at the end of the day, they pay their hard-earned money to come and watch Hungerford Town. So, as much as we've had many plaudits this year, next season's going to be a lot tougher, in my humble opinion, because, we've probably had a freak hit this year where teams and managers probably didn't respect us as much, because they thought that we were going to be that relegation cadden fodder.
Easy 3 points,
yeah, easy 3 points. And I think that what we've done, like I said, it's not going to go down in history because it's been null and voided, so we can't harp on about that. But what we do next season will be a real mark of what we can do. And you know, with someone like Patrick and Nicky, that's at their helm with the football club. This football club will only go from strength to strength.
Yeah, definitely. I just hope you can feel the support that you've got from all the fans, even via social media and the brief game they were laid into. I think everyone's right behind you, so I hope you know that.
Oh, 100%. You know, like I said, I always do this for supporters, and the message I've received through various social media outlets has been, been phenomenal. And like I said, I cannot wait for that first Saturday at home next year, where win, lose or draw. You know, because like I said, that's the dice that we roll with Hungerford, isn't it? Let's be honest. You know, we can sit afterwards, chew the fat, have a beer. And like I said, the biggest thing that I always say in the way that I build my sides is we are in this together. You know, there's no one bigger than anybody by the football club. The football club is the most important thing, and you know the supporters are just as important as what the players are. And you know, like I said, if we can build that ethos off the pitch, then you know, hopefully, fingers crossed, we can try and replicate what we did this year.
Definitely. And you know, Kieran drinks G&T. I think you've got to watch out for that one.
Yeah, with an umbrella, I've been told.
Yeah.
Not with the umbrella.
Excellent. Well, I'll tell you what we'll do now, guys. I'm going to bring the other lads back in, and we'll just finish off the evening. And thank you to you boys for coming in, because it's been a real pleasure. Obviously, we didn't want to just go with radio silence to the fans, as I'm sure they've, nobody wants that. So it's been nice that we've all been able to do something tonight to talk to the fans. Over 120 have dropped in at some point this evening, which is great. There's still people with us online now, and I've got a few comments to run through, and I think a couple of questions as well. Like I said, if you are watching this live right now, you can get your questions in now. Ask anything you want, and we'll put it to the boys. A couple of comments. So we've had, I think your brother Ryan. We've had Daniel Seager say, "Hi, I'm Ryan's brother." So that's when you know you've made it, when someone just wants to come on and boast about them being related to you. Surely that's got to be a good thing.
He's not getting a shout out from me.
We've had Graham as message to say, just want to thank Danny and the team on their efforts this season. You've done a great job. And we've had Peter's message in. I think this is a query about the red card from Matt Partridge, saying, didn't Toozy get sent off while being loaded into an ambulance? I'm not sure. Is that right?
He did, yeah. He
did. That's harsh. You're on your way into an ambulance, and the last thing you see, red card.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, keep them coming, guys. If you want to ask any more questions, we'll put them straight to the lads. We're going to carry on streaming probably for another 5-10 minutes just to finish off this evening. I want to put to quick question to you, Danny, and I suppose the guys as well who have come in from elsewhere, and probably to yourself as well, Matt, who's come from obviously last season to this season, and that is that did it feel different, the level that you come up to, especially you, Danny, the level, or did it just feel like another day at the office for you when it comes to getting down there, getting 3 points, doing the best that the team can do? Because obviously I know that you in your past have had matches where you could be considered very much under pressure. It's one thing to compete to win the Hellenic League, and there's another one to take a team to Wembley and play in a cup final. It seemed to me on the day of the FA Vars final, where obviously I saw you that day, it was very much, let's just get this job done. And have you taken that attitude into this job? Now you're playing at a higher level. Is it very much just, don't worry about what league we're in, my job here is to win games?
Yeah, definitely. It's all about winning games. You know, football is a results business, no matter whether you play Sunday League or whether you're in the Premier League. You know, you're, as a manager, you're based on what you can do on the pitch. And I think one thing that I do is I turn fear, because like I said, it is a fear, you know, of losing games and, you know, managing at this high level into a burning desire. And, you know, one thing that I do, I try and leave no one stone unturned, and I'm quite meticulous in the way that I plan. I think the lads will tell you that. I'll probably bore them half to death half the time. But I think, like you said, that I use the big word is for fear, you know, fear of not winning the game, fear of, you know, not doing as best as I can as an absolute driver for me, because, you know, it's an absolute wonderful level. You know, I could only dream when I started out football to be at National League level. Well, when I started it was conference level, so it's a massive honour. But the proper players have to buy into what I believe in, and I do generally believe that all 20, 21, 22 of them have bit into everything that I wanted, and teams only replicate what managers are. So we've gone from bottom of the league to a playoff place when it got curtailed, got null and voided, and hopefully, fingers crossed, like I said, we have to plan and we have to be even harder working for next season.
Excellent. And I want to suppose a message to all of you guys, answer in any order you want, and that is that, similar to what Martin said earlier, really, which is, I suppose Hungerford have fallen on some quite hard times in recent years, real sort of relegation battles, and this year, we've spent pretty much the whole season right up the top. Did you feel that positivity from the fans? Obviously, they weren't allowed in. You couldn't see them. You've yet to meet them, some of you. But did you get that from the atmosphere at the club, the feedback from those who were at the club last year, such as Martin, such as Kieran? And did you feel that through social media as well? Obviously not. Well, I'll let any of you guys.
Go first, aren't we?
Yeah,
I'll go first then. I think, to be fair, from a group perspective, you do feel it in from those who are around the club, and I say we're very fortunate having someone like Nicky who's constantly at games screaming more than anyone else. So as much as you don't have a fan base, you've got the chairman's wife probably making the biggest noise, whether we home or away. So you do feel a love of it. I think we are well supported. Like I say, we don't all have blue ticks like Seager does, so he sees more on social media than what we do.
Got me there, didn't you?
How about you then, Seager? You must have felt the love coming through the verified accounts of Twitter.
Yeah, it's always nice to see as well. To finish a game, you win the game, you always get more love, if you will. But even when we've been losing as well, it's always, you see the positivity that when we lose, we've only had one or two games where we've lost, and we deserve to lose, sort of thing. Other games it's been really tight. So, but I think you do get a feel around the club as well, like how well we were doing, and you can see that from the social media and everything like that. That the fans are always behind us, always backing us. And I think after the first 4 or 5 games, I feel like they started to believe more of where we could end up, sort of thing. And that's sort of when our expectations changed as well. When we were getting good results and we were up there near the top of the table, I think the squad got more belief from it as well. That only helped us, and that can only help us for next season. Obviously, finishing 7th, even though there was a few teams played less games or whatever, they'd have still had to have won their games to go above us. So I think that just shows how far the club's come and the attitude shift, if you like, what's happened.
No, fair enough. And Matt, obviously you were in part of the squad last season, where there was a fight for survival towards the end of it. And how have you found the reaction of fans, of any of you've come across, different from last season to this season?
It's interesting actually, because I PT people who live in Hungerford. So from PTing people who live in Hungerford, I can actually get like a first-hand sort of experience of how the town itself is a lot more upbeat about the football club, talking about the club. And it's like anything at the end of the day, if you're a team that's winning, people are talking about you. And I think the fact that obviously we've gone into a lockdown, the progression we've made as a football club and been getting wins, been getting positive results, I think that's had sort of a positive impact on the local community, which is obviously a great thing and something we would love to be able to take into next season, because obviously when the fans come back, we would love to be able to take those positive results and keep getting those, and obviously and give the fans something to cheer about when they do finally be let back into the stadium.
And Danny, of course, you yourself, I know what a strong connection you had when you were Thatcham town manager for all those years, and I suppose has it would have been hard to do so, obviously, under the circumstances, but have you felt that warmth come from Hungerford? Because, like you were saying earlier, being local, Hungerford, Thatcham, not too far away from each other. Hungerford and Thatcham for a long time considered quite rivals. There was the the cup that was often played in pre-season. I know where you played as Thatcher manager against Hungerford. When you were announced, when you came in, did you find a very much warmth from Hungerford?
Yeah, since day one, it's been unbelievable. As soon as I was announced, private messages on social media that I've received is, nothing but love, really and truthfully. Like I said already before, Hungerford envisage what I am really and embody what I am. It's about, togetherness. It's about, we are a family-run club, really. We have to punch well above our weight, and to get given this opportunity to manage in the National League was unbelievable. And like I said, a big thing for me is I can't wait for the supporters to come in, because, like I said, they have been so good from a distance. I can't wait to imagine what they're going to be like up close when they get behind the side and everything like that. When you look at special players, like Seager, I hate to say that because he's on here, but and every single one of the players and things like that, I think, like I said, the love that have been shown is been brilliant. It has been, and it's like something I've never really experienced before. But all we want to do now, the big thing for us is to try and do it again. It's always hard a second time round, and that's the players have got a massive job, like I have, on their hands to go again next season and to try and replicate what we do in front of them. So, I can't wait for next year. Literally already, I can absolutely physically wait.
Brilliant.
Hopefully, fingers crossed, the players feel like that already.
And we've had a question in, actually. This, I think, raises quite an interesting point. It's from Daphne Gibby, and she basically mentioned a little bit what you were talking about earlier, Martin, with away days, and sort of ties into the whole with fans coming back. And that is, she says, do you think Hungerford have benefited from playing away to clubs who often would play in front of big home crowds? I know you said earlier, Danny, that some, one areas you'd go to, they'd say, we normally get 2,000 at home. Do you think playing away when it's empty grounds has benefited Hungerford this season?
Like I said, I haven't experienced obviously the supporters in the stadium, so but I'd like to think that the players that we have would thrive on it. So I think that when you do go away, like I always liken it, when we do go away, we go into a Lions Den. It's going to be intensified because there will be supporters in, and we have got a special crop of players. When all said and done, I always said that the players that we have here have the ability to go and do whatever they want to do. So I think when we do go away from home next season, and then we do see the crop of Hungerford Towns put away in the corner or wherever it be behind the goal, whenever we perform, it will be for them. So, I think personally we will be a better side with supporters coming in, because knowing the personalities and the characters that we have, they will thrive on that. And this side is, we don't have one leader, we have 16 leaders. So at the end of the day, all I can say is really and truthfully, as a massive football fan myself, bring it on, and I can't wait for that.
Brilliant. Martin, Kieran, do you have a last question for the boys each?
I haven't got a question. I'd just like to sort of say again, thank you for your all your efforts this season, and it's been frustrating to end it. But from a personal view, it's sort of helped me a lot through this grim lockdown, just having that escape of watching you lads and seeing you do so well. Win, lose or draw, you've been brilliant for me personally. So thank you very much.
Yeah, I echo what Martin said there. Thank you all.
And I'm sure there's a lot of fans who are the same. Again, we've had comments this evening from many of you just saying thank you for all your efforts this season. In what has been a difficult year, this has been it's been a real escapism, and it's really filled a void, which has been, I think a lot of the fans have really appreciated that. It's one thing getting your team playing football again, but then to see them playing so well and getting up the top of the table is on another level. And I'm sure they'll be the first to show their appreciation by coming down to Bullpit Lane when they can do so. I just want to put a last thing to each one of you boys before we go and wrap this up, and that is, if you could, in a sentence or two, we'll start with you, Ryan, then we'll go to Emmerson, then Partridge, and finally Robinson. If you could just say something about what to expect next season, and why, when they're allowed in, the fans should get down.
I think how we finished the season, if you like, I know it got cut short, but you could see how well all the boys were doing, how high up the table we were. And I think that's not going to go away. I feel like with the manager, we've got the staff, we've got the players, we've got that hunger and desire to do well. We don't want to be around the bottom of the table anymore. We want to be up near the top. So you never know what can happen in this league as well. Every team has a season where they just go for it and can go up. So very exciting football, and I think definitely the fans will enjoy coming to see us next season, and it'll be great to see everyone there as well.
Excellent. Emmerson?
Trying harder than full after Siegs. I think for us is like I say the Gaffer's assembled a squad that will live and die by the sword. So you'll see that week in, week out. Is that you will get people who 100% will give what we've got and they buy into what we are. So we've been in a fortunate position to be able to play this year without fans. So we can only get better when we have the fans behind us as well. So I think, like everyone would say, we are looking forward to playing in front of fans and having our fans travel us when we go away as well. So it should be exciting times moving forward.
Excellent. Partridge?
While Siegs and Emma are on commission for ticket sales next year, I'll go with more of a. I'll just say, obviously, providing obviously this season, I'll just say thanks to the fans for obviously supporting us through this season. It's not gone unnoticed. Obviously, Martin and Kieran's work as well as the gaffer and all his backing staff as well. Thanks to everybody, really. So obviously, I look forward to seeing you hopefully at the ball pits next year.
Excellent. And finally, the gaffer.
Yeah, we've now started a journey, haven't we? So the big thing is that as soon as the support was allowed in, which obviously, hopefully, fingers crossed, Boris will keep to his word and that we can get in. So, come join this journey with us, because at the end of the day, this is going to be a bit of a ride, and hopefully, fingers crossed, it's going to be a good one.
Excellent. I like what you said there about being on a journey, and I think the fans coming back into the ground is very much part of that journey. Well, that's just about it then. I'd just like to thank you guys for being with us this evening. Ryan Seager, Keith Emmerson, Matt Partridge, Danny Robinson, thank you so much. And thank you, Martin Leach and Kieran Morrison as well, for also providing lots of media coverage this past season, and for providing us with some questions tonight and collecting messages from the fans. Thank you for everybody who's tuned in. So take care, everyone. See you soon.